Hello, everyone. It is Jessica here from Sensoriam, and this is the next edition of our Founder.I.Am Series. This is where we get a chance to learn a little bit more about the minds, hearts, and spirits of some really incredible people doing amazing things in the natural world. Not just natural perfume, of course, we love that. But today we have Yasmin from Mikash, which is an exceptionally unique natural skincare brand here in Australia because Yasmin has built it from the ground up and has a really amazing story. So, welcome, Yasmin.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. Now, we know that as an entrepreneur, you are very busy today. Already told me before that you were running around to stockists and brothers dropping off brochures and things like that. I imagine life hasn't always looked like this, correct?
No, that's definitely correct.
So, where did I always love to hear people's journeys into natural? And so I know that you haven't always been in the natural skincare industry. So tell us a little bit about your journey to have the light bulb go on and say natural is the way to go.
Well, it wasn't until I was a teenager and I landed a position as a traveller to work at Maya and David Jones. So I pretty much, for those that don't know, a traveller is someone that will fill in for the day if a manager's not well or they're on holiday. So I'd go in and replace their position for the time being. And I absolutely loved it because I was working at different types of brands from Guerlain to La Mer, Revlon, Christian Dior, you name it. I worked at all of the stands there. I absolutely loved it. Since a young age, even my kindergarten photos, I've got makeup on. Like I've always been into like beauty, makeup, skincare. I've even at the age of 12 and 13 is when I started my skincare routine. I really loved taking care of myself from a very young age. So when I landed a job at Maya and David Jones, I was like, this is it. This is like, I just fit in here. And then I did really, really well at the counters, but it was Estee Lauder that really sparked. Like they really saw me and the potential that I had for them from, going crazy with the sales. So they give you a daily budget and I would always exceed it. I was always like just constantly selling. And because I was very honest with the customers there and they really loved that I wasn't really pushing sales and just trying to sell products to them. But I was in that position for about a year and it wasn't until about 6 months, 9 months into the position that I would see like customers come back saying, like, oh, this I reacted really badly, and Asians, they have beautiful porcelain skin, like, and I wouldn't know what to say to them, so I'd just take it up to the manager and just tell them like this person's come back, they're wanting their money back, their skin's inflamed or whatever. But in saying that, like they're all fantastic skincare brands. I'm not putting the brand down whatsoever, but this is just the light bulb moment of
Yeah.
me waking up to natural skincare, like, because I didn't really see it exist, to be honest. It wasn't as common as it is now back then. So I was like, I took a carton, a box of a few of the products because I'm like, what's in these? And from a very young age, I've always questioned things. Like, for my age, I was very mature, and I always would always like just want to know things.
Yeah.
So I grew up in housing commission flats in Fitzroy. My shop is in Fitzroy at the moment, but across from us, back in the days, these were very popular. There were internet cafes
Yes.
because not every household had internet, and
Yeah.
back then it was dial-up. So I went to K2, that's what it was called, and I started Googling ingredients. And like the moment I'd write the ingredient name, straight away Google would pick up side effects, and I'm like, side effects? Like, that's when I was like, oh my goodness me, there's ingredients in products that can be very harsh, like that, it
Mm,
travels the bloodstream, and like it just, that was when I was like, oh my gosh, what have I been living? So
mm,
yeah, that's like how my journey started. So I
mm.
always said to myself, when I grow up, I know I'm gonna have a business, but if I ever can, I would love to have my own natural skincare. At first, I really wanted to do a natural makeup,
Yeah.
but I was more like into my skincare. So,
Mm,
and here I am after so long, like, and it's going to be 5 years I've been in my business in August this year. So
yeah.
I'm very proud of myself and how far it's come.
Amazing. Yeah. It's actually interesting. There's a fair few people who I come across who have similar stories to having worked on perfume counters or the makeup counters in a lot of the main department stores. And just along that journey, start either getting sick themselves and noticing that others were getting sick too, or customers coming in with issues that have them start investigating things a little further. Um, and so then, how do you start learning about the natural ingredients to put into skincare? Have you gone and studied it, or have you got some history in your family?
Yeah. So it was actually really easy for me to pick up on this because I remember a time when I was young, me and my sister, my mum sent us to Turkey to stay with my grandmother, which is in the village, for a whole year. And there, like, we're so used to having shampoo, conditioner, body wash, everything here. Whereas with my grandma in the village, they don't have that kind of stuff. They make everything from scratch. Like my
Mm.
grandmother would make, her own dishwash soap, her own body soaps, and um, shampoo bars, like
Oh yeah, wow.
things like that. And I was like, how did I forget about this stuff? Like, so it's actually in our family. Like, we have a long history of naturopaths. My niece is a naturopath at the moment. So we've always been into like the natural lifestyle. Like, my mum would barely cook any meat or chicken. We were pretty much raised on a very vegetarian diet.
Mm.
But what happened was when I was 18, I studied at Victoria University. I did hair and beauty there. They have a hair and beauty section there, and I went into the beauty. I did certificate 1, and then I completed my certificate 3 beauty diploma at Ali Lucas, which was amazing, very expensive at the time.
Mm.
So I learnt about like the skin and skin concerns and all of that stuff there. But it wasn't
Mm.
until I worked at other skincare brands. One in particular is called Omniderm, and
Mhm.
Omniderm is a distributor for German bioengineered skincare, such as Dr. Spiller and all these very well-known brands
Mm.
that you can find in beauty clinics.
Mm.
And I just grew from there, like just all these ingredients that I'm just so familiar with. Like now I can close my eyes and I can make any
Wow.
skincare if I wanted to. Yeah. So it's really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
So do you literally go into a laboratory? Do you put the jacket on and sort of make things?
Now I do. Yeah, definitely. But before like Estee Lauder started from her kitchen, I started from my kitchen.
Mm.
So very humble beginnings.
Mm. It's cool to think that the beauty products that we seem to, lust after or things like that are literally things that did come from a kitchen. And it is that sense of almost the things that we eat being used also to nourish our skin, which seems to make sense, but then it's moved so far from that in a lot of the mainstream ones now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I heard that one of your very first products was a nappy cream. Is
Yeah,
that
so
right?
it's a barrier balm, and I used to make this balm many years ago, but so I'm someone that suffered from eczema my whole life, and I like my mum, my dad, they'd always use like what the doctor would prescribe, and it actually made my condition worse
Mm.
until I went to a naturopath in my 20s. I healed my gut. I did all of that stuff. Like, I don't eat certain things, otherwise, I'll flare up. But it
Mm,
was this barrier balm that actually helped me a lot, especially when I'd feel
mm,
really itchy and my skin would be really dry. So, but when I released it, because of the TGA, you can't say it's an eczema balm or
yeah.
anything like that. So I thought, oh, well, this is good for diaper rash as well, from because I would make it for my kids. So I
Mm,
first released it as bottom barrier balm, and then I
mm,
later on changed it to organic barrier balm so that people know that it's a multi-purpose balm. But it's
mm.
one of my best sellers. I've sold to probably over 20,000 of them.
Wow. I think I need to try it. My daughter doesn't have full eczema, but just every now and again, slight, it's just in the creases. Um, so we're always on the lookout to try some things like that. Yeah, but I've seen on your site a lot of the before and after pictures as well from people. So I imagine the customers that you get to work with, it literally can change their lives, some of these products.
Yeah, it makes me so happy. But like in saying that, I love to be honest and say my barrier balm hasn't helped some people as well.
Mm,
Because every skin's different. A lot of the time, people rely on products that they think, oh, yep, this is going to help me. When really, our skin is a mirror of what's happening inside. So I'm
mm,
really on the gut health and skincare. Like it goes hand in hand.
mm. So when you do have customers come to you who at the beginning they think it's all just about product and they haven't really looked at the inside, how do you help them or guide them into looking into that a little more?
I try and be very careful because I don't want people thinking that I'm against doctors and estheticians or dermatologists, because I'm not. I always say I love Western medicine as well,
Mm,
but when we look at our ancestors and how they used to do things, I
mm,
really see that it makes more sense. Like being on a good diet and drinking your fluids,
mm,
having that healthy lifestyle, it really does make a difference. Because now, like the air, it's so polluted, and like you need to have that balance of taking care of your skin inside and out. But a
mm,
lot of the time, I do recommend a naturopath, and
mhm,
this naturopath is absolutely phenomenal. She's all about treating the skin from the
mm,
inside out.
mm,
But one time I got backlash from it, like, oh,
mm,
why would you recommend a naturopath? So
mm,
now I'm like a bit just careful. I try and say it in a nice way, like, like I healed my skin
mm,
through, such and such diets, and, this is the person I'd recommend. But yeah, it's so important because a lot of the time, doctors don't look at the root cause. Like with my eczema, can you believe that my eczema would flare if I ate the seeds of a tomato? Like I
wow,
can eat a tomato, but I can't eat the seeds of a tomato because then I flare up. It's crazy. But
that's
a
weird.
naturopath picked up on that, and
Mm,
just to go easy on starchy foods. Like I can't eat pineapple, I
mhm,
can't eat eggplant,
mm,
otherwise I'll flare up. So these are
mm,
things that doctors unfortunately don't look into, whereas naturopaths do. Like they
mm,
took a little bit of a sample of my hair and they did a
mm,
hair DNA test, and
mm,
literally everything was pulled up from since I was a kid. So
mm,
it's really helped me a lot, but it's very
mm.
important to find a good naturopath.
For sure, I agree. I have a good naturopath as well. I love that idea that our hair carries our history in it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, a little bit like the rings of a tree and the history it tells of the environment in which that tree has lived in over that time. The similar we can get from our hair as well. It's fascinating. And what about your children? I know you have a daughter and a son. Uh, are they big natural advocates as well? Because with my daughters, I have two daughters, and now anytime if we go past one of those stores that have the unnatural smells coming out of it or things like that, they'll say, "Mum, let's hold our breath as we go past really fast."
I love that.
Ah,
Look, I must admit, I'm not 100% perfect, but I do live by the 80/20 rule. I definitely do encourage them to eat well. I try and educate them how my mum would. Like my mum would say, eat this, it makes you, it brings oxygen to your blood, or eat this, it's good for fighting cancer, or like things like that. I
Yeah,
would
wow.
try and say it in a better way for them to understand. But in saying that, if someone was to offer my child, a chocolate or lollipop, I'll let them enjoy it.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely live by the 80/20 rule.
And is your daughter into makeup the way you were? I'm not sure. How old is she?
My kids, they have their own skincare routine. They love it.
That's so cute. I mean, why not? Because skincare is not just about, putting some product on and things like that. Very much, at least for my own journey as well, with natural, it's brought a ritual to my routine. That is care.
Yeah, that's right. And like it gives them that beautiful energy, because children, like, their energy is so pure. It gives them that beautiful energy of self-love, and building that confidence within themselves. Like my son and my daughter, they just use the Rose Otto spray and a bit of face oil. That's it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like they love it, and I'm like, yeah, it's a nice time with them to have.
So great. Now, I imagine them watching you go after your dreams and make things happen. Do you notice them really watching that?
Oh yes, like some days when my kids are, they're not at school, like they love packing orders with me, or they love like doing like little face masks, and they really get involved. It's beautiful. I love seeing it.
Yeah, very good. And so, tell us about your upbringing then in that environment, because I'm not sure if people would know that. I mean, we assume that to become an entrepreneur or a successful entrepreneur, you need to have a really great base or have gone through school and got incredible results and things like that. When a lot of the time that's not the case. So, what was that upbringing like for you?
My upbringing was like my childhood and my teenage years were phenomenal. I loved it. My mum was very hardworking. My sisters, my brother, like everyone in my household were just very hardworking. But at a very young age, I was really business driven. Like like I would give ideas. I'd be 15 and I'd be giving ideas to people of what businesses they should do. I never forget, I was 17 years old, and there was this brand called Mavi. It was a clothing brand in Turkey, but the
Yeah.
owners were one of the owners were Turkish and the other owner was American. And this jeans brand was like the next Levi's. And I just
Right.
said to my brother, "Is there a chance that I could possibly bring Mavi jeans to Australia?" And he was like, "Yes, like you're 17, like just don't worry about this stuff." I said, "No, I'm being serious. It will blow up here."
Yeah.
And then what happened was I actually got in contact with the owner in Turkey, and I said, "Listen, I'm in Australia. I really want to bring down your brand here. What do I need to do?" He's like, "You need to have $50,000 in order to
Wow.
have the name Marvi, and we can send you whatever you need." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, bro." I'm like, my brother, I'm like, "Bro, like I need $50,000. I know I will make a shitload of money." Excuse my
Yeah.
language.
That's
And
fine.
you're not going to believe this. It didn't happen, but there was another person that did it, and they became like so successful. Mavi Jeans was in almost every single retailer in Australia. So,
Mm.
like from a young age, I was very business driven. I would have immaculate ideas, and I knew, because I manifested it from a very young age, I knew that I would actually have my own business. But like growing up, my mum worked very hard, and like just seeing her take good care of us, and also she would take care of herself. Like she had a time where she'd be like, "Okay, my work here is done. I am now going to enjoy some tea with my
Yeah.
friends," and like yeah, like that was
Yeah.
just it. But for me, I didn't like high school because I did get bullied. My sister got very badly bullied, and I don't know, I was never really into high school. I just really wanted to work and just make money. That was just like my thing. Like I just really wanted to make money. I really wanted
Yeah.
to, buy things that I couldn't afford to buy. So
Mm.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously you've had the hardworking mum around you, but also showed you boundaries there as well. But also that I think you dropped out from school after as soon as you could to then go and start
I was
working.
literally waiting till I was
Yeah.
14 and 9 months.
Yeah. So again, for parents out there who get worried for their kids who potentially want to do something like that and follow a different journey, they can get very worried as to how it might work out along the way. What would happen if one of your kids asked at 14 and 9 months to go and do something else and not finish school?
Honestly, I think because it's just such a different situation with them. Like financially, me and my husband, we're pretty good. Whereas back then, like we were just on living on my mum's income. At the time, mind you, she was getting such good money, but she was also taking care of her family overseas. So, yeah, I don't know. I would definitely say no. You guys are staying in school. Nah.
Or you'd say, you have to show me the business plan first, and it better be really good.
Definitely.
They'll be like, Mum, there's this jeans brand. It's gonna blow up. We just need 50,000.
Till this day, my brother's like, yes, I wish we went ahead with it. I'm like,
Yeah. And so are your family involved in the Mikash business at all?
they were kind of. So when we were in the lockdown, it was quite
Mm,
crazy. So my
mm,
nieces and my nephew were out of a job, and I just said, you know what? I know that God is going to bless me. I hired all four of them. Sorry, yeah, all five of them.
mm,
And mind you, at the time, I was living in my housing commission unit. It was just a
mm,
2 bedroom, small unit,
mm,
and we just made it work. And I'm telling you now, like throughout the pandemic, my
mm,
husband was like kind of getting worried that I was not going to be making much sales,
mm,
but my sales actually tripled.
mm.
And that year, I made over 500K. So
Wow.
it was phenomenal. But now that I've got my shop, like I love it. I've got my doors closed because I don't rely on foot traffic,
Mm,
thankfully. So what
mm,
will happen is my brother will come, my mum will come, my sisters will come, and like they'll help me here and there. But I've actually still got my niece Elif, who's literally like the backbone of my business. She's been with me since 2018. She comes and helps me a lot.
mm.
So yeah.
That's great. So good. And now what about perfume? Because obviously here at Sensorium, that's what we specialize in. What does, I always like to ask, for you, what is smell?
Okay, so every time I think of a scent, it takes me back to my childhood and it
Mm.
reminds me of my father.
Oh, wow.
And my dad, well, a lot of the WOG men back then in the 70s, 80s, they were really into the, cologne and stuff.
Alone.
But
Yeah.
when growing up in my household, we would always smell limon kolanya, and it's something that every Turkish household will have for sure. It's just like
Mm.
a refresher. It's so hard to explain it, but
Mm.
actually, I've got one. I'll show you.
Sure.
It's just like a cologne. So at the same time, I can just sanitize my hands because of the
Ah,
alcohol content. Like this one is from Eyüp Sabri Tuncer. I don't know if you
yeah.
can say, but they've got this one in particular that my dad and my household would use was just lemon based,
Right.
and every time I smell it, it just takes me back to like mum cooking breakfast while my dad's getting ready and he's
Mm.
sprayed it everywhere and the whole house smells like lemon. So every
Mm.
time I look at a scent, it's got to be something that like when I spray something, it's got to be meaningful. I'm not someone that has over 10, 20, 50 perfumes. Like every single perfume holds a special place in my heart. So
Mm.
these ones, even though they're not considered perfume, but these are the scents that I try and look for. Like one brand in particular that I absolutely love is
Mm-hmm.
called Mihan Aromatics. I'm not sure if you've heard of them.
No.
Oh my gosh. It's just one of their brands, one of the perfumes, it's called Willow Bark.
Yeah.
That's something like if you were to hug me, if you were to say, right, what's your scent? That's my scent.
Okay.
That and these.
Yes. That's the signature scent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, it sounds like scent for you is memory
Yes,
and memories.
definitely.
Mm. How do you choose your scents for some of your skincare products? Or are they
A
fragrance
lot of them
free?
are scent free,
Yeah.
but I want them to be like, I don't know if you remember Avon.
Yes.
Do you remember those Avon parties?
Yes. Totally.
So my mum and her friends would always hold these Nutrimedics or
Yeah,
Avon
Nutrimedics as well.
parties.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was only born in 1986, but I remember like all that kind of stuff. And Avon would have these beautiful creams, and I would still remember it till this day, like the smell. So I try and like base the scents according to my memories, if that makes sense.
Memories.
But a lot of the time, people don't like scented skincare, like with essential oils. So I
Yes.
try and minimize it as much.
It's true. There is people who prefer the fragrance free, but often that's because a lot of them have got the fragrance allergies because of the synthetics in those sorts of smells as well compared to the natural. Yeah. And have you had a chance to look through the range on Sensorium at all to see the
I'll
ones
show
that?
you this
Yes.
one that I honestly, a lot of people have been saying that it's so good, which is the I think it's Vanessa.
Vanessa Megan?
Yes, it's got to be that one.
Yeah. So she has four in the range, the Vanessa Megan range.
This Harvest.
Harvest.
I don't
Oh
know if you can
yeah.
see,
Yes, I can see it. I know
because
it.
I love the spicy tones in
Mhm.
perfume as well. Like perfume for me, it's got to be different. So like if I'm walking past you, I don't want someone saying, "Oh yeah, she's got Versace on," or she's like it's got to be unique for me. So that's why like I'm very picky with the perfumes. I've only got 3 perfumes that I would wear. But yeah, it's got to be very unique, very different for me.
Cool. Well, we'll make sure that a nice bottle of Harvest makes its way to you as our thank you. And so, what's the future for Mikash? What do you see happening in the natural beauty space? And then for your particular brand, where's the vision?
For me personally, I know for a fact that this brand is going to definitely grow even more. I'm hoping to I'm manifesting Mecca, or
Yes.
like other places,
Mm,
because I genuinely believe my products do stand out because it is small batch skincare. It's not mass produced. The ingredients are like so phenomenal. I support Australian suppliers, from my packaging to screen printing to boxes to absolutely everything is all from Australia. So I see my business doing wonders,
mm.
definitely.
And what do you see as sort of trends in that natural beauty space at the moment? Are you noticing more of the mainstream brands trying to go into the green space, or what sort of future trends are you seeing there?
You cut out. Sorry, say that
Oh,
again.
that's okay. Yeah, no worries. What sort of future trends are you seeing in the natural beauty space?
Oh, I'm not too sure how to answer that.
Hmm.
You can cut that
Well, I
off.
guess no, that's fine. I guess what are your customers asking for? What are you seeing that they're saying? Oh, we love these products, but Mikesh, please, what do you think about making this, or what else do they want you to do for them?
I definitely did listen to them with the retinol creams. Like people, anything that's trending, people just want to buy and they expect
Mm,
me to make it straight away. When it's not the case. Like I can't just, like it took me almost a year to do the retinol cream. But I'm the
Mm.
type where I like to keep things just simple,
Yes.
effective. Because a lot of the time, because I'm a mum, I have, I reckon, easily 60 to 70% of my followers are mums. So I want to
Mm-hmm.
make skincare enjoyable, quick, easy, none of this 10, 15 step
Mm.
routine. Um, but one thing that I love seeing is people are now waking up and going to the natural side.
Mm.
And I love that. I love
Yeah.
seeing that. Like,
Yeah.
I have people say to me, I stopped using, this brand. It's like a very
Mm-hmm.
expensive brand because like your
Mm.
products works better than me, better for me. And
Mm.
but yeah, I love seeing people go for natural skincare because it's better for the environment. It's better for, you know, our waters and things like that.
Mm. For sure. I always think that, I mean, people do focus on how good it is for our skin in terms of the naturals and then even the packaging, but actually, yeah, we wash it all off our bodies as well, right? And so through the whole water system, through the whole reproductive system of all of the marine life and things like that as well. It's a big part of it. Now, I have one last question for you, Yasmin. If you were to give a piece of advice to the younger you who was leaving school at 14 years and 9 months old, what would have been your words of wisdom looking back now?
Oh man, that will make this. It's gonna make me cry because the younger me was so young, like so immature and naive, and like always listen to people. But I would definitely say to my younger self that you need to just believe in yourself. Like, I know everyone says you just got to believe in yourself, but it's actually so powerful. When you believe in yourself, you can do anything.
Mm,
And that's what I did. Like, I just said, "No, nah, I'm believing myself. I'm trusting my gut instincts." And yeah, it's
mhm,
actually, yeah, I know everyone, like a lot of people say, "Oh, you got to believe in yourself." It's so true though. You got to
mm,
believe in yourself because only
mm,
you can make things happen. You can't
mm,
expect other people to do things for you. So,
mm.
yeah, I hope that's all right.
That's great. I mean, it's your advice to yourself. And sometimes it's the intention of the words. Sure, people can say, believe in yourself. But what I'm hearing from you there is you understand the actual real intention behind those words. Yeah. So it feels different. Amazing, Yasmin. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your story and advice and passion for all things natural. We love sharing with the world these incredible brands that we find along the way and the people behind them who have taken an idea and turned it into reality, which is really inspiring. So thank you.
No, I thank you. I really appreciate this.
And to everyone else, we will make sure that we put the links to Yasmin and Mikash on this wonderful on the post here so that you can go along and follow the rest of her journey because she's going to blow up.
Thank you.